Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking something absolutely fascinating: the profound, historical, theological, and spiritual layers of the Islamic month of Rabi al-Awwal. We're going to see exactly how this single month holds such immense, literally world-changing significance for billions of people around the globe.
Here's our roadmap for today. We're going to cover the month of Rabi al-Awwal, look at prophecies in the Quran, and see how it was foretold in the Bible. Then, we'll hit the major historical events, extract some timeless spiritual lessons, and finally wrap up with recommended practices and a quick quiz.
All right, Section 1, the month of Rabi al-Awwal. Let's start with our foundational context.
So our crucial starting point revolves around the number 3. Rabi al-Awwal is the third month of the Islamic calendar. But it's way more than just a spot on the calendar. It's universally recognized and deeply revered as the birth month of Prophet Muhammad. This one historical reality, it completely sets the stage for everything else we're going to talk about today.
Moving right along to Section 2, prophecies in the Quran. Let's see how this arrival was actually anticipated. Take a look at this verse from Quran chapter 2. This is the literal prayer of Prophet Ibrahim, and he's specifically asking for a messenger who would fulfill 4 distinct criteria. He asks for someone to recite revelations, teach the book, share wisdom, and provide spiritual purification. And historically speaking, this prayer was answered perfectly, because all 4 of these specific elements were granted to Prophet Muhammad upon his arrival.
But the anticipation didn't stop there. In chapter 61, verse 6, Jesus directly prophesies the coming of a messenger to follow him. And what's really wild here is the specific name given in these glad tidings, Ahmed. Ahmed is actually another name for Prophet Muhammad.
Now for Section 3, Foretold in the Bible. Stepping outside the Quran, let's explore some absolutely fascinating theological threads found in Judeo-Christian texts.
What's truly fascinating for anyone who studies theological history is the incredible crossover we find in these ancient texts. Just look at this verse from Deuteronomy 18:18. It features the Almighty speaking directly to Moses about a future prophet. Now notice that specific phrase, from among their brethren. This wording indicates the prophet wouldn't come from among the Jews themselves, but rather their brethren, the Arabs. On top of that, it clearly states this future prophet would be like unto thee, meaning just like Moses.
And this brilliantly illustrates a direct parallel across the text. Just as Deuteronomy mentions a prophet similar to Moses, Quran chapter 73 explicitly notes that a messenger was sent just as one was sent to Pharaoh. So the life circumstances, the physical struggles, and the overarching missions of Prophet Muhammad and Moses were incredibly similar.
To really underscore this deep connection, consider this amazing data point: 136. That is the exact number of times Moses is mentioned by name in the Quran. He is literally the most frequently mentioned prophet in the entire text. It just completely solidifies that profound link between their prophetic missions.
There's also something quite remarkable when we dig into the original languages. In the Hebrew texts of the Old Testament, we actually find direct linguistic references. The Song of Solomon uses the term Mahamadim, which phonetically contains the name Muhammad. Similarly, the book of Haggai uses the word Ahmed in the original Hebrew when discussing the coming glory of all nations. It's a real game changer when you see those linguistic ties.
Now, jumping over to the New Testament, we uncover another whole layer to this narrative. In the Gospel of John, Jesus speaks to his followers saying, "I will pray to the Father, and he will give you another comforter." And then, just a couple of chapters later, he explicitly states that if he doesn't go away, this comforter will not come.
Breaking down that biblical text, we actually find 3 specific criteria for this final comforter. First off, saying another comforter implies a human prophet, much like Jesus himself. Second, their teachings have to abide forever, which aligns perfectly with the lasting revelations of the Quran. And third, this figure literally cannot arrive until after Jesus departs the earth. These 3 conditions flawlessly align with the eventual arrival of Prophet Muhammad.
All right, Section 4, Events of Rabi al-Awwal. Let's pivot from ancient prophecies to the historical realities of this month.
This single month is so unique because it remarkably encapsulates the entire arc of the prophet's life. Even though they were separated by decades, 3 massively consequential events happened right here in Rabi al-Awwal. First, his birth. Second, the completion of the Hijrah. That's his pivotal migration from the intense hardships of Makkah to the sanctuary of Medina. And finally, his eventual passing. It is quite literally a month of profound beginnings, huge transitions, and inevitable conclusions.
So, what does this all mean for us? That brings us to Section 5, Timeless Spiritual Lessons. We can extract 3 deeply philosophical yet super practical lessons from these milestones. First, by looking at both his birth and death occurring in the exact same month, we learn to accept the duality of joy and sorrow. I mean, life is just an undeniable mix of both, right? Second, that epic journey from Mecca to Medina teaches us that life combines hardship with eventual ease. And third, the Hijra itself reminds us that change is constant. It pushes us to embrace change and to proactively strive and struggle for a better reality.
And that leads us to our final part, Section 6, Recommended Practices and Quiz. Let's look at how you can actively engage with the significance of this month.
Now, while there aren't any specific acts of worship strictly mandated for Rabiul Awwal, there are 2 highly recommended, totally actionable steps you can take this time of year. Step 1 is simply offering gratitude to Allah for sending the final prophet. And step 2, dedicate some time to actively studying the Seerah, the incredibly inspiring biographical life story of the prophet.
And this verse really hits the nail on the head regarding the why behind studying his life. Quran chapter 21 says, "We have sent you as a mercy for the whole of mankind." It frames his entire message, his whole life's work, not just as some isolated regional event, but as a universal mercy intended for all of humanity to learn from. To finish things off, I want to leave you with a provocative thought, a little something to invite a bit of further learning. Can you answer this trivia question? On exactly which day of the week was Prophet Muhammad born? Take a moment, think about it, and let that spark your curiosity to dive even deeper into the rich history we explore today.